Hello folks, gonna be putting this reata back together today. Broke it roping a cow, happens once in a while. Rather see them broke occasionally because that's part of life, and have them be used than not used. So all I've done so far, I'll get the bag off here in a minute, but put the two broke ends in some water for a bit, and just so it's pliable, and unbraided it, and I wrapped it up in this bag for a couple of days so it could get tempered up real nice. So I'll get it unwrapped and show you where we're at. Alrighty, got her uncovered here. Let's check. Oh, I gotta adjust you folks a little bit here. There we go. Alrighty, so what I've done is I got her cased up probably about to there, probably 5 feet or so. And then on one end I unbraided close to 2 feet. And on the other one, got probably closer to 3 feet unbraided there. And then strains are real pigtaily one after unbraiding, so then just get them straightened out. So they're a little less wild to deal with. Then I'll go over and I'll cut a point on all the ends so it's easier to deal with, and I'm also going to run some braiding soap on these way back to where I'd got them tempered up to, because we're going to be working them way back there. So I'll get this soaped up and we'll see you then. Alrighty, hope the wind's not picking up on the microphone too bad. It's bad windy out there. But anyway, so what we got going on here, I got this coiled up, broke ends where it's unbraided too, so it'll match up and sit in the way I want it to sit. This is to avoid getting any funny kinks when after it's spliced and we go to use her. So what I did is on one end, got my braid all organized here. So then on this side, what I'm going to do is, it's kind of a bit of a mess. I'm going to get it organized so that when it comes into this braid, it's a smooth transition right there. It's not sitting cocked to the side or anything. It lays the way it's laying now. So take a few minutes to get organized, but it's all right. We're not too bad there. So essentially what's going to happen is this strain right here that's coming under and then over one and down this direction, him, and this strain right here, it's coming under and out that way. Those two are going to act as the same strain. So it should make more sense here in a minute. But what we're going to do is we're going to do one strain at a time. We're going to back one out, and then his matching buddy, we're going to chase him with it so we don't mess up the rest of our braid. We just follow them along just one at a time, and we'll end up doing that for all the strings, and we'll bury the ends and such when we get to it. But so just make sure that all our other strings, they should work out. And this end coming from that direction has a longer section unbraided, so 2 of his strings are going to run up this direction, and this end with the shorter bit unbraided will run 1 string that way, and then we'll just do the other splice in the area where we're at. So that's why one side's longer, because we'll run those strings. So what we're going to do is with that is spread out where each of the 4 strings splice together, so it's staggered rather than all 4 spliced in the same spot, making a great big lump. It'll make more sense as we go, but keep it staggered, so it's likely to be a little swell in the braid, but it's not going to be a great big lump. It's still usable and not an issue. So what we'll do to start with, since these top ones are sitting good, is we'll run one of them, we'll join them and make them buddies. So we'll just start. It's going to be a bit of a mess, might be hard to follow, but we're going to take this guy, we're going to start backing him out, and this guy right here is going to go up where he was. Kind of got to hold things so you don't lose track, but got to be able to get around underneath to where this string's at. Well, that's not him there, so just use this awl or fid, whatever you want to call it. It's just made out of a spiral spike. You get back here. So we'll pull this guy out, and this guy, that hole, we just pulled that one out. Make sure we don't have any twists in them. He'll go right where that one was. Rolled on us, but we'll get him. Strings that have never been worked before and in a braid are a heck of a lot easier to deal with, but we'll get them worked through. It's confusing looking, but we haven't lost where things are at yet. It's once you get going, it's not so bad. It's the getting going. So we got him in that hole, so we'll pop him again. This other one we're following. And what we'll do is we'll do each string a little bit, and then we'll make sure that we get everything tight and snug and sitting good there, and not a big old loose spot like it is right now. And then we'll carry on with the ends further to where they gotta go to. Watch all them twisties, because they can cause you a headache if you don't take her slow. As you can see, we're and we're not far along by any means, but we still got a braid there. It is loose. We will tighten that down, but we're keeping our braid by going just one string at a time, one spot at a time. Probably go one more and then we'll deal with another string so we keep things snug up there and don't get that loose spot I was talking about. And that soap we put on there, it helps to keep the strings moist. If they start drying out a little bit, can put some on there, and it also lubes it so it pulls through easier and can get it tightened back down and the likes. So those ones, we'll let them hang out there for a minute and we'll get some of these other ones organized. So these two here, you can see it's the other two that are on top. This one's coming around this way under, this one's going that way. They could be buddies. Right. As long as I'm not mistaken here. Can get confusing, these little suckers. So take your time and make sure you got the right ones going the right places. That guy's headed that way. This guy's coming out there. Might be. I think those two, they're both going under there, so pull one of them out. One of them's already kind of in the right hole, and that being real loose there, that's the looseness I'm talking about. That's a string we just run through. So once we get some of these other guys situated, we'll get them pulled so that those are meeting where they're supposed to. So what I'll do is, these two, they're already running together. I'll pull this one out and I'll work this one down towards me. They're essentially already in the hole you gotta be in, so get this guy pulled out another one. And he'll go. We can get this guy worked in that spot. It's a little stiff there, but he'll go. We'll get down to the end without any twisties in them. make sure he's laying the way he's supposed to in there. So we'll probably leave him there for now, so we're running up on our next one. And then one of these other guys here gotta head up with one of the strings going the other direction there. It's gonna be tough to see, so maybe since you can see this side better, these two right here, this guy's running up around there, this guy's coming from the other way, so we'll chase this guy up with this one. You gotta get some pliers on them and get them pulled out. That's alright. Just be careful not to score them up, create a weak spot. And as you can tell, I like to generally work my rawhide when it's a little bit stiff, rather than I'd take a little too stiff over soggy. Soggy rawhide's no good. And when you're putting them in water to do this or other stuff, you don't want to leave them in so long that it gets soggy. I'll just kind of pliable, and I'll wrap it in a towel and stick it in a plastic bag. And if I gotta, after it sits overnight or even a few hours, if I pull it out and look at it, if it's still too dry, and then I'd rather have to do that a few times rather than leave it in too long and have a soggy rawhide. Yeah, it looks like quite the mess right now. Well, it kind of is a mess, but we'll get that dealt with in a minute. Hopefully you can see good enough with my hands in the way, but these wiggly suckers kind of do what I can. So now I can call that good enough for now to get all that slack out of there out. So like the string we just were doing, I'll give him a pull. This guy here, he might be close enough. I can give him a pull from there. And that bubble, that's that first string we worked. So I'll probably have to come in here and work them around a little bit and grab them and pull on them and kind of work our way up to where when we get a hold of the end, it'll pull. There we go. And the soap helps for that too, because it gives it a little bit of a chance to be slippery enough to pull. So that's not looking too bad. And these last two strings here that we haven't done nothing with, they're in the original spot, and we'll deal with them and splice them there. So these two on this end, and chase that one up here a good ways, and these two down here, chase them. Probably one kind of around there and the other one probably way back here. So I'm going to have splices scattered over 2 or 3 feet. But I think it's probably a good time for time lapse since we're all organized. So see if we can get that going. So it wouldn't hurt to mention here that before you carry on, just make sure your coils are sitting straight and not twisting to the side, and don't want to kink in your coils. And I could see when I was doing it that I was good, but just thought I'd mention that. And also when you're pulling those strings, give them a pretty good pull, because you want to keep your braid good and tight so that that whole section that we're working there doesn't end up being kind of loose and floppy compared to the rest of the rope. So, and then this rope, I braided it, oh, probably 6 or 7 years ago. I hadn't seen a pile of use, but I'd seen some. It's kind of the replacement of my favorite one that I've been using for a long time, and it's getting pretty wore out. It's getting pretty soft and raggy, so it's just about now nothing but a wall hanger full of memories and such. So yeah, so we'll just give me a minute for my little hands to give her beans. Looks like I was a little chipmunk on caffeine there, so we'll get her done in no time. Okay, we are finally back, folks. I've got strings chased up and we're spread out all over. So this is where we originally brought them together. We ran the one up that way, brought the other two back this way. I'll just go to one of these, spin one around. So right now, the way they all end is like we were still chasing them along. So they both coming out right before one string. So what we're going to do, so I don't need to be so long. We're going to pop them out once more. Set my pliers here somewhere. You got a little stiff. So we're going to do the other three as well. But what we're going to, so we want them so that both of them, there's one string missing in between them. One spot for them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them off probably about 6 inches long, and I'm going to run a real long taper the whole length of that. And it's taken me, well, I don't know, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours for running them all and having a coffee and such. So they're a little dry, so I'm going to get some soap on them, and maybe even a damp rag, and wipe on them, get some moisture back in them so they're a little more supple than what they are now. So we'll be back once I've got them cut off and tapered.